Mic check, mic check. Alright guys, welcome to my first ever episode of Rapid Fire PA. This is James, aka JMK, aka Fresh Prince of Healthcare, and I wanted to start this segment on my YouTube channel where I can really just focus on answering your guys' questions. I don't have to focus on the visual aspect of a video and, taking all that time to edit a video per se. And I can really just help answer your questions rapidly and answer, commonly asked questions. Again, so this is the first episode of Rapid Fire PA. Comment below any questions you want me to answer on the next episode. I do dive a little bit deeper, as opposed to you leaving a comment per se. But again, leave a comment and I will do my best to answer your questions in the next or the following segments of Rapid Fire PA. And hopefully you guys enjoy this. Please like the video, and to help support the channel, it'd be really greatly appreciated. Hopefully you guys enjoy this, and I will timestamp all the questions in the description below, so you can skip to whatever section you want, to whatever section you feel is most relevant or pertains to what you want to know. So we will start off with the first question. A lot of these questions are submitted by you guys through Instagram or through YouTube. I did kind of post a story asking you guys to ask some questions for this rapid fire PA audio segment. I'm excited to see all your guys' responses and your questions and see what I can do to help answer. But I also have some questions in here that are just standard questions that I feel like a lot of people do ask, and so I'm going to try my best to answer them to the best of my ability and maybe provide a little bit more insight into the PA profession, the pre-PA journey, and life as a PA after PA school. This first question that I'm going to answer is, what is my definition of a PA? To put it in the most broad and general way possible, I always say a PA is a medical provider who can diagnose, prescribe, and treat, and works collaboratively in a team with other providers and medical staff to care for patients. So obviously you can include, a master's level or a graduate level medical provider that can do a lot of things, very versatile, can work in different specialties. But in terms of my kind of most raw and broken down definition is what I just said is, a medical provider that can diagnose, prescribe, treat patients, and works collaboratively in a team with other medical providers. The second question, kind of more of a topic, is international applicants. So I actually get a lot of messages and a lot of DMs from people outside of the States. A lot of people from Asia, a lot of people from Europe, and even some people from Canada. And their questions are, what are the requirements as an international student to apply to PA school? And when I answer this question, I'm not going to necessarily give the most specific answer because I don't necessarily know all the answers to this. I did a little bit of research. So out of the 250 plus PA programs that are operating, I think over 140 of them accept international applicants. From the very basis of it, it seems like a bachelor's degree is required. Most want the applicant to pass an English proficiency test like the TOEFL. Each program is obviously specific to their requirements, so I always recommend look into some PA programs that you're interested in and see kind of what they require. And I know some even have specific pages dedicated to international applicants. I've heard of like OHSU and Northwestern are a few that have separate web links and web pages for international applicants that'll help answer any questions that you have. It's tough to give an umbrella statement about international applicants. Most PA programs require a bachelor's degree, regardless if you're international or domestic in the States. And then it looks like an English proficiency test, again, at the bare minimum. I'm sure they have, the patient care experience and other prereq requirements as well, but it's all specific to the PA program. So I would do your research and look at some programs that you're interested in. Another common question I get is, what were my stats? I applied to PA school when I was 24. The application cycle started a little bit after I turned 24. It usually starts in the end of April. My birthday is around the middle, early April. My cumulative GPA was 3.26. My science GPA was a 3.01. My prereq GPA was around a 3.5, and it depended on obviously the programs and their different requirements, but my prereq GPA was actually pretty solid, I would say. My patient care experience, I had over 3,000 hours as a physical therapy aide, and I think that's what really made me competitive to really differentiate me and, kind of elevate me a little bit more than the average applicant, even though my GPA and my academic levels and numbers weren't as great. In terms of the GRE, I did take the GRE. Again, I wanted to balance my little bit lower GPA, so I took the GRE, studied pretty hard for it, got a 325, I got a 163 on the verbal section and a 162 on the math section. And I did quite poorly on the writing. I got a 3.5. So the analytical section, I got a 3.5. And average on that is normally like a 4. I had a couple hundred hours of volunteering, different experiences, and then also had some leadership experience. I was president and officer of multiple health organizations on my college campus. I really talked a lot about those and kind of the skills that I gained from being in a leadership role, and I think that helped to support my application as well. And then in terms of shadowing, I had around 100 hours between 2 PAs. I shadowed an orthopedic PA, orthopedic surgery PA, and then also a dermatology PA. So the next question is, what program did I attend and would I recommend it? You guys know I've kind of lived all over. I lived in Oregon, I've lived in California, I lived in New York. I attended Toro University, Nevada, here in Henderson, Nevada. It's about 10 minutes from Las Vegas. And would I recommend it? Yeah, I would say so. The biggest thing that they had that I really liked was my cohort, my classmates. There was a lot of great people and very supportive people. The rotations overall were pretty solid. I like Las Vegas. I love the area, and I'm working here currently post-grad. I see myself here for quite some time, and it all worked out. I think when you're applying to PA school, you want to be really open and don't try to be too picky in applying. But once you get those acceptances, then I think that's a better aspect of, being pickier and figuring out what you want, location, cost, all those things, come into play. When you're applying though, don't be so nitpicky on, I need to go to this PA program. It's good to have reach and, goal PA programs you want to attend, but don't count out other programs because, a lot of programs are great. _Torsonia on Instagram asks, study tips in PA school or in general? The most basic and broad study tip or advice I can give you is look into the Pomodoro technique. So Pomodoro technique is a technique where you study for a certain period of time and then take a little bit of a break and you repeat that, and then you do that in multiple cycles. Once you finish that cycle of maybe 4, then you take a longer break. The method that I used, I did 25 minutes of nonstop focused studying, and again, you need a timer so you know how much time you're actually studying for. So I did 25 minutes nonstop focused. The important part is it's focused studying, and then I had a 5-minute break, and I repeated that 3 to 4 times, and then I got a 15-minute break. When I say focused, it means no phones, no food, no talking, no distractions, only focused on your material. Again, if you're doing group studying and you're like quizzing each other, that can count. But again, when you really want to be effective with your study time, try the Pomodoro technique. It's very, very good. And if you can actually be strict and abide by the actual cycle and actually study during those 25 minutes you're supposed to be, you end up realizing like, wow, when you just kind of study casually, you end up wasting a lot of time and you don't end up actually studying for that long. 25 minutes of nonstop focused studying. Again, no food, no phone, no distractions. And then take a 5-minute break, whether you need to use the restroom, take a bite of your snack, and then repeat that 3 to 4 times. So that'll be like a 2-hour span, but you'll get essentially like 100 minutes of studying in that 120-minute time period, which is amazing. Another kind of tip for studying is figure out your study style. For me, I did well when I studied alone first and then got into a group to quiz. It's tough because there's pros and cons to studying solely alone and in groups. Studying with others, you have that sense of accountability, but also that possibility for distraction. When you're studying alone, you don't have that sense of accountability, and your only accountability is yourself, but you also don't have as many distractions when you're studying alone. So for me, I like studying alone first, get a little bit of a grasp on the material, and then I would study in a group and then, try to quiz each other, and I think that was a good method. And it's good to study in a group too. If you've never done it, it's worth a try because you really get a different perspective on studying and understanding the materials because everyone looks at the material differently. Everyone has a different understanding, and that helps to really solidify the information into your brain when you attack it from different aspects. And kind of the last point that I would make for studying is repetition is very important. Focus on learning the material so you can really describe it to someone in layman's terms. Understand the underlying concepts. Don't just try to memorize words on a paper, because once you finish that exam, all that information is just going to fly out of your brain. And you want to study and you want to learn so that you can retain the information, because you're going to be using a lot of it as a provider. It helps you to really kind of incorporate and really get the idea of different concepts and the foundation you need to understand other topics. So in turn, by really understanding the underlying concepts and the foundational information, that helps you in the long run. Ornsby Boy on Instagram asks, what's it like being on the other side post-PA school? It's amazing. Obviously with COVID, it's been so different and it's been crazy, but getting paid is amazing. I'm not going to lie. Getting paid to help people feel better is amazing. When you truly love taking care of people, it's a really rewarding experience. And then getting paid on top of that, that's awesome. Like, what better way to make money, you know? You're doing a good thing and you're putting good into the world, and it's just an awesome feeling. You know, being on the other side as well, like I feel like I'm learning new things every single day. I'm having to review things every single day. You know, medicine is so broad and the scope of practice is huge. The amount of medical knowledge and information out there is endless. You will never know everything, but the more you see stuff, the more you'll get used to it, and the more comfortable you'll be with, you know, different conditions and treatment plans, things like that. And people that say they know everything about medicine, I don't think anyone really says that, because really there's no possible way to know everything about medicine. Post grad life working as a PA, it's rewarding, and I think definitely beats being in the classroom. Angie Hammy on Instagram asks, how to deal with patients who look down on you because you're an assistant in quotations, because as a PA, our title right now is physician assistant. So for me personally in Vegas, the respect for PAs and NPs is there, and patients do have a pretty solid understanding of PAs and NPs, and they do see us as providers, and they obviously know physicians have a lot longer training. They obviously have that residency, but also takes a lot longer to see physicians, especially at my clinic. They're seeing higher acuity, and so they have to book out a lot farther than we do. Like, our schedules are a lot more open than the physicians that I work with. People don't want to wait. You know, at one point in Vegas, in Nevada, in southern Nevada, I think it was like a 2 to 3 month wait for seeing your primary care physician. And that's crazy. Like, who wants to wait 2 to 3 months when you have current complaints, acute complaints going on? And that's what leads to the overflow and, the flooding of emergency rooms, urgent cares, things that should be handled in the primary care setting. PAs and NPs have played a huge role in alleviating that, and patients obviously like to be seen quicker and want to be seen, as soon as possible. It's been a great experience in that aspect, in the sense that they do respect the APCs, as what we call it, advanced practice clinicians. That's what our clinic calls PAs and NPs, and I like that name. Yeah, the few sour apples at patients of people that see us as assistants or are like very kind of rude because we're not doctors per se or physicians. I always do my best to treat them. I don't take it personally, and then for their next follow-up, every time a patient comes in, I like to schedule a follow-up at least, and the next follow-up, if they're kind of talking down on PAs and NPs, I'll be like, hey, just schedule with the physician. Because in the 3 month, I usually do a 3 month follow-up, and a physician will generally have an opening. So I'll go ahead and just schedule them with the physician. But overall, I've had a pretty good experience in terms of patients, understanding the role of PAs and NPs and our capabilities. So it's not like that everywhere else per se, but I think I'm lucky at my clinic. The physicians are very supportive of us, and we have a good dynamic. Superstar Zlatan on Instagram asks, what's your work schedule like? Are 3 12-hour shifts common for PAs? So for me, I work a standard schedule, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. I see patients in the morning from 8 to 12 and work on tasks like administrative stuff, referrals, medication refills, calling patients with their results in the afternoon. 312s, definitely a possibility. That's more common in shift work, hospital PAs that work in the hospital, and that setting, it's a lot more common. In outpatient settings, it's not as common. The Shred Doctor, my brother, Jeremy, on Instagram asks, how many girls slide in the DMs? So my honest answer is not as many as y'all would think. Yeah, it's mainly obviously you guys asking questions, pre-PA questions. You get the occasional DM. But ladies, shoot your shot 2020. Come on now. And the last question for today, Lily Tran, also my homegirl Lily, on Instagram, she asks, what's an item on my bucket list? Pre-COVID too, it was traveling. Post-COVID, it's still traveling. Obviously, it's been very limited this year, and I'm not sure how long it's going to be limited for. And will I be able to travel this year? Who really knows? But my top places I want to visit, Europe, Asia, and Australia, I really want to go to. And obviously, those are kind of more continents. There's a lot of different countries within those places that I really want to go to. And obviously, it's going to take multiple trips. But I'm really excited, and, I want to start traveling a lot more. And yeah, I'm going to take PTO and travel when I can. All right, this was the first episode of Rapid Fire PA. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Subscribe if you haven't already to the channel. Like the video, please, show your support. Comment below any questions you guys have that you want me to answer for the next Rapid Fire PA. Don't forget to be like my blood type, be positive, and I'll catch you guys in the next episode. Peace.